All right, well, welcome to the Dream Achievers. It is weekly, a weekly Zoom call with a different topic each week. My name is Sheri Friederichs, and I'm excited to see so many of your smiling faces. I know it's Monday night, and I'm sure there are many other places you could have been, so we are so happy you're here with us for the next half hour. And I know there are many people that listen to the recording, so thank you for doing that as well. I will just, okay, tonight's topic is sponsoring, which I am extremely passionate about, and I'm super excited. We're going to be talking about sponsoring a couple times. So this will just kind of kick it off. But before we get into the topic at hand, I thought it would be fun once again just to mention a couple promotions because we had 16 promotions on April 1st. I just wanted to remind everybody. I see Angie is on the line. Angie is our new gold leader. So congratulations again, Angie. That's awesome. Debbie Jensen. Oh, Sarah's our new copper. Where's Sarah? Sarah's over there in the corner of my screen. So congratulations, Sarah. That's exciting. And then Bria Jennings, Amy Zweary, and Delana Meyer are also new copper leaders. So that is also really exciting. So good job, you guys. Okay, how about some victories? I would love for someone to share, business related preferably, a victory that you've had since you've maybe been on the last call or whatever. Who wants to start?
I can have one. I've got one this time.
Yeah, yay, Hillary, share.
Well, one, it's my anniversary today, my Tastily Simple anniversary. But thank you. I have all of I set a goal to do 3 parties a month. And so far I have surpassed that already for April. I will be doing 4 at the very least, and I already have May met. So I'm kind of excited to have that done early, get those bookings in.
That's awesome, Hillary. So it's 1 year today, right?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. And are you doing all online parties?
I joined during COVID, so that's all I've ever done is online.
So if someone was new, which I think there's a couple new people on here, what would be your a tip for them to get 3 to 4 parties a month? How'd you do it?
I ask everybody that attends the parties that I've had, if they've purchased, I'll send a note just pointing out that their host gets a half off item if they book a party. And like this last party, I had 3 people that booked just so their host would get a half price item. The other thing that I do is I reach out personally and send personal message to everybody that's attending. If they haven't purchased already, I remind them on the final day to order with the link provided. And then I also ask them if they didn't want to order, or I add this all in the message. So I invite them to order and also ask them within that message if they would be interested in hosting their own party. So
Hillary, that's fantastic. So it's a private message, or what are you doing that?
I do. I private message them on Facebook is what I do. Every person individually. And if you copy paste it, it really only takes, this last party I had 40 people, and it took maybe a half an hour to private message everybody. Wow. So worth it. Totally worth it.
You're private messaging anybody that's in the party.
Yes. Yep. Everybody that's said that they're attending. Mm-hmm.
Oh, congratulations, Hillary. Way to be consistent and way to make some extra money.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing. That's really fun to hear. Well, would anybody else like to share a victory? That was super fun of Hillary.
I have one if nobody else does.
Is that you, Olivia?
Yes, it is me, Olivia. Yeah. I had an open house on Saturday, and my open house is currently sitting at $859 in sales for that day. And I have a couple messages still out. So I'm just waiting for a few more orders on that.
That is fantastic.
Yay.
Yay.
Way to go.
An open house at your house.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, super fun, Olivia. Thank you for sharing. So fantastic open house. Hillary's got all kinds of bookings on her calendar. We have time for one more. Anybody else want to share? I see Christy walking on the treadmill. That's a victory, man.
I'll share.
Who wants
This
to
is
share?
Shelley.
Oh, Shelley, yes. Shelley, is it Shelley Harrell?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
So I am doing an online vendor event that my sponsor talked me into because I'm deathly afraid of trying to do the online thing. So this is a big test for me. It has not started yet. It starts on the 15th, but we're gearing up and inviting people. And so I'm really excited to see how this is going to work.
Oh, Shelley, that's awesome. Kim is your sponsor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations. Way to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good deal. Well, keep us posted, and I'm thankful that you shared that with us. That's awesome. I know there's some other people that have done online vendor events, so if you do have any questions, you can post that on the team page, Shelley. So, okay, last week we talked Instagram. I can't remember who was all on other than Jackie Pitco for sure, because she did the training. Did anybody do anything with Instagram that you want to share? Yeah, me neither.
I created a business account for it, but I didn't do a thing with it. I kind of forgot.
I know it's just hard to find time, but you know what? It's out there, and it's definitely a way to promote your business. Jackie did share a really great file on the team page. So if you're intrigued or you have some extra time, please check that out. Okay, well, let's get into sponsoring. But before I share all my words of wisdom, I'm joking. I want to open the lines up and I'm going to ask a question, and I would just like to have you shout it out. So you're going to need to go on, you need to unmute your line for this. So please share with me, and if I had a chalkboard or a whiteboard, or God, in the olden days I had flip charts because I always do in-person meetings. So here's my flip chart. And Angie, if I was really good, I'd be share screen, but I'm not going to go there. So not this time anyway. I would like you guys to shout out why sponsor.
Make more money.
Make more money. Good, good.
Trips. Earn trips.
Yep, earn trips.
Earn trips.
Help
because-
others achieve their goals.
Yep. Help others.
Empower others and empower yourself.
Help others achieve goals. I seriously am writing this down. Empower yourself. Is that what you said, Alice?
Empower others and yourself.
Oh, empower others. Okay.
And
Residual income.
What was that?
I said residual income.
Residual income. Thank you.
Help people get out of debt.
Earn promotions.
Oh. Yeah, we had some people.
Friends. Make new friends.
Mhm.
Oh, that's true. Who said that?
I did.
Why? Twice.
Twice. Sorry, I'm writing down these things. Make new friends. Isn't that so true? Okay. It's not always about the cash. What else would you want to sponsor? Anything else? Make more money, earn trips, help others achieve their goals, empower others and yourself, residual income, help people get out of debt, earn promotions, make new friends. Did I miss that? Did we miss anything? That's a great list. I will be sharing that later. Okay, then let's go on to one more question. What holds you back from sponsoring? Who wants to share?
Time commitment.
Time, yep, big one.
Not really sure how to ask.
Not sure how to ask.
Or scared of rejection.
Very true. Scared of no.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Fear of not knowing enough to train someone.
Fear of not knowing. Yeah, that's a good one, Rebecca.
It's apparently family night on the Zoom, so I apologize in advance for whatever comes out of my children's mouth when I unmute.
Rebecca, we're just happy you're on. No worries. Okay, what else? I can think of one that I can't believe you haven't said.
I always sometimes will prejudge and be like, oh, they're not going to want to.
Yep, actually two. That was a really good one. So prejudge. There's another one though that I'm surprised no one has said. Anyone? Okay, I'll add it. I don't want to be pushy.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
I don't want to be pushy.
Yep.
Okay, I've heard a lot of people in my 23 years in this business say, well, they'll let me know if they want to do this. Like, I am not going to push it on them. And if they're interested, they'll let me know. But, you know, you're kind of standing in your own way. Okay, so time commitment. Like, I don't have time for that. Not sure how to ask. Like, what do I say? Scared. Like, I don't want someone to say no. What the heck? Fear of not knowing enough. Like, I don't even know how to do this myself. How the heck would I bring someone else on? Prejudge. You know, her husband or his wife is a doctor. Why would they want to do this? And then being pushy again, like I was sharing at the end. Okay, did I miss anything? I don't think so either. That's a pretty good list, and I'll share that in later as well. Okay, so we talked about why sponsor. We talked a lot about, or you shared what holds people back, and you know it was the same 23 years ago as it is today. You know, it's a little different market, but still the same reasons. So let's talk about intention. So let's move on now to intentional sponsoring. And I'm not talking about when I make a phone call to a team member and I say, I'm going to pick on you, Twyla, even though this hasn't happened yet, I don't think. Twyla, congratulations, you have a new team member. Tell me about Sue Smith. And she's like, what? What? I have a new team member? I don't even know who that is. That's not intentional sponsoring. I mean, I love it when that happens to Twyla. I love it when it happens to me. I love it when it happens to any of you, but that's not intentional sponsoring. That's like a gift. And it will happen to you. Someone will go to your website and sign up or whatever. And that is like icing on the cake. We're not talking about those things, those gifts. We're going to talk about intentional sponsoring. So imagine if you were a kid and you loved butterflies. And you had one of those butterfly nets, you know what I'm talking about? And you're like, Mom, I want to go catch butterflies because I love butterflies. I love those monarch butterflies. And you stood outside, at least you were smart enough to go outside. You just stood outside in front of your door and you sat there with the butterfly net. Actually, this could be an adult. It wouldn't have to be a kid. We're going to transition to an adult. Do you think that person's going to catch any butterflies standing with the butterfly net on the outside of their door? Yeah, most likely not. What if it is monarch season? They're migrating through Minnesota, if you live in Minnesota, and you go perhaps where there's a lot of plants, flowers. You go to where there's just a lot of butterflies and you use that net. You think you're going to catch a butterfly?
Yes.
Of course, of course. So think of your tastefully simple business. If you're just standing there, sitting there and just, you know, I'm going to catch somebody. I'm going to catch somebody. It doesn't work that way. You need to go to where those butterflies are. You need to go to where those people are. So think of the butterfly analogy. Think of intentional sponsoring. I'm going to give you some tips on that. But I also want you to think of a bicycle. Who here likes to bike but me? Anybody? No, I love it. I can't wait to get outside. I mean, you can bike inside, but something about that fresh air and vitamin D. Okay. On a bicycle is pedals. There's 2 pedals. I was almost going to bring my bike up here and pretend I was biking, but I didn't. So think of your bicycle. You've got a sales pedal and you have a sponsoring pedal. And when you're just biking like crap and you're just selling like heck, which a lot of you are doing, and you're not sponsoring, like your bike is not very, isn't going to work very well. So those that are successful in direct sales will have a bike that uses both pedals, that will sponsor and sell and sponsor and sell. So think of that as well. And if you want, think of the business opportunity like you would our beer bride. Do you talk about our number one seller? I think you do. It's called our Bountiful Beer Bride. Do you talk about our business? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'm going to guess a lot of you do not on a regular basis. And maybe some of you do, you talk about it, but then we're going to talk about digging a little deeper. So again, think of the butterfly net, think of the pedals on your bike, and think about if you're pedaling strong. Because sponsoring is really an extension of your sales. And someone had mentioned that our sponsoring is residual income, right? Which it is. And you can also help enough other people reach their goals by offering this business opportunity. And you're going to grow, they're going to grow. It's so much fun. And like Twyla said, it's really a fun way to make new friends, meet new people. So I want you to grab a piece of paper. I got mine. You guys all have a piece of paper? Or can you grab one? Okay. And I'm going to grab my calculator, even though I have this figured out, but you don't even need to do that because I'll let you know. So we're going to look at the month of May. And, you know, another tip in this business is to be consistent. So Hillary was, probably couldn't have been any better of a victory for me on this presentation. Hillary talked about doing 3 or 4 parties a month. I'm not sure if Hillary has a sales goal, but she knows, she's smart. To make that extra money, she needs to stay consistent. So let's say your new team member's goal is to make extra money, right? I mean, most people, they would like that. They might not always tell you that, but let's say we're going to use my daughter Brooke, who just joined. Her goal is to make extra money. Okay, so if Brooke sells $1,500 a month, that's just part one, no tax, no shipping. That's a 30% commission. So that means her gross is $450 a month. Okay, so if you write down 1,500, gross 30%, or her commission is 30%, her gross is 450. Now, TS Connected and ProPay, which also includes Get Social, is $13.95 a month. Okay, $14. Perhaps she does SimShare, he or she, excuse me, Cody. Perhaps this person maybe buys some catalogs, perhaps this person, whatever. So we're going to say 400. We're going to leave $50 in your account for expenses. Does anybody know what 400 times 12 is? I know what it is, but I want to hear from one of you.
$4,800.
4,800. We're just going to round up to 5,000 because maybe one month he or she did more than that. So $5,000 in 1 year, doing 2 to 3 parties a month. Do you think that'd make a difference for somebody? Yeah. So why are we not sharing this? You guys, especially with online parties, it's not, I mean, tasting parties are still great, but online there's like the expenses. I mean, Angie, they're almost like zero, right?
Yeah.
And you can schedule it and work it around yourself. So I just shared that with you guys to say, each of you here on this call, and those of you that are recording, think of the difference you can make to somebody. $5,000. That's big. That's really big. So don't underestimate what you guys can do to help somebody out. Because $5,000 would make a big difference. Okay, so let's move into just a little bit on how to generate interest. You're probably like, yeah, I get it, Sheri. I do want to sponsor. I think I agree with everything you're saying, but I don't know what to do. Well, we're going to talk tonight about online parties because I know that that's what all of you are doing. Another time we'll talk about in-home parties, and another time we could talk about events, but we're going to really focus on online parties right now. So what are you doing to promote your business as far as sponsoring on online parties? Does anybody have anything they want to share? I'm like asking you that. Does anybody?
I do one little game, like I think everybody does. I don't do enough.
When you say one little game, you mean like one post?
Yeah, where ask me about it.
Yeah, and I do the same thing, Angie. Ask me any business related question, your name will go into a drawing. So That's better than nothing, right?
I ask, what would you do with like an extra $200 or $500? I don't know how it's worded, but it's worded like that a month. And then they get tickets for giving their answer. And I have another one, but I can't think what it is. But it's similar to that. Like, what would you do with, it's if you could be a consultant, and then it has like the different types of consultants, like online only or full-time and blah, blah, blah. I don't get much response to that one lately anyway. In the beginning I did. But mainly the one that Angie's talking about, I usually get response there because people want like 35 tickets in the fake drawing. So
Yep. Okay, so you do too, Rebecca. You do
there's three or four, but they're kind of all worded very similarly.
Okay, so you're posting. Okay, that's fantastic. Is anybody else doing anything else with their online parties?
I do the 2 games that were just mentioned, but then I also do like a testimony of like a personal testimony of how it's helped me personally.
Great. So you're sharing your story, Hillary. That people love to hear that. They love to hear that. I love that. Okay. Anything else?
Similar to what Rebecca said, I've shared stories, but like the ones that are shared in Get Social or on the blog or whatever. And I don't get a ton of like response from them. Like I'll get likes, but people don't really comment on them. But I think it is because it's other people and not me. But I just haven't worked my way there yet to have that personal experience or like the big story per se. So that's just something I'm working toward, I guess.
Yeah, so Laura, I think what you're saying is you're using other people's examples, and that's totally fine. As a testimonial, I think is maybe what you're saying. That's fantastic. That's smart. Anybody else do anything? Well, I think Angie does this, and she maybe just doesn't realize this is what I'm looking for, but are you asking your host? I know Angie does this. So, you know, we're talking about the business in our parties, and I invite you, if you're not on your online parties, and maybe we can do a thread on the team page starting tomorrow or something on what posts we are sharing. So I can, you know, I can share what I'm doing, Angie can share, Hillary can share what she's doing, and maybe some of the rest of you. So that's a start, right? I mean, at least it shows that you want to build your team, and it's a great way to advertise. But are you asking every host? And I fell into that trap myself. It's called prejudgment, or it's called not enough time, or, oh, I think I forgot to ask her. Dang it. So what are some ways, and Angie, I'm going to ask you just because I know you're really good at this. What are some ways you ask a host, an online party host, if they're interested in the business?
So I used to send out a pre-party host saying, hey, do you want to make this your blast off? I don't do that as much anymore. But usually what I do is if I'll watch for if they do a good post that I kind of encourage, and then I'll say like, I just send them a message, I'll be like, oh my gosh, you were so good at this. Great post. And a lot of times I'll do a screenshot of it. And then I'll say, have you ever thought of doing this? Or, you know, I'll be like, you should be a consultant. And I just kind of let it go from there. And then I always make sure I add that, hey, I will share my party with you. I think that's really important because most people are super scared. How am I going to do that? And I just kind of create a conversation that way. And then I always try and shut up and listen to them and just ask questions, you know, like, what would you want out of it? And then kind of go from there. This is kind of what I've been doing.
That's great, Angie. You're creating that relationship and you're asking. And a lot of people, I mean, when you ask them, because this is what I do want you to write down, have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? I used to use that all the time at in-home parties, like when they're cutting the beer bread. Or it just depends on the situation. They give you $200 with the outside orders, and it's like, oh my gosh, Angie, yeah, of course they have support. Have you ever thought of doing what I'm doing? And I think this is what Angie's also asking. What she said, someone has a really nice post, or heck, they're sharing their family, you know, their little kids eating up the whatever, and you know, she's complimenting them on a great post, which is so true. And then have you ever thought of doing what I'm doing? And like Angie said, you got to stop, you know, just see what they say. And I've asked that, and sometimes I've asked like a couple questions in a row, which isn't good because then they never get back to that one question I wanted them to ask. So you kind of got to end with that and then just wait to see what they have to say. And Angie, what do you hear most of the time when you ask that?
What do I hear? Did you say?
What do you hear from that host most of the time when you ask that question?
Usually it's like, oh, I don't think I could, that kind of stuff. Or I'm pretty busy. Busy time's always the biggest probably objection that I hear. And I always just follow up with, hey, I get you. I work full time too. And that's why I do everything. I help my team and, repeat, and you can make it as much as you want or as little as you want is kind of what I always say to people. But most of my hosts or my new recruits have said like, no, I don't have time.
Yep.
And I just kind of ignore that. And, I address it, but it's like, nobody has time, but we can make it. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't mean I don't just ignore it. But.
Yeah. So that's called an objection, and you're going to get them, and you're going to create a relationship with them. I've noticed on my own sponsoring some with online parties, sometimes they'll sign up, 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys remember Sue Rush? If she was still actively working direct sales, she'd probably say, set up a time to talk with them. You're bantering back and forth perhaps, or you're going back and forth, and you just say, Angie, I would love to, are you interested? I'd love to share with you more. You're doing so well. Would you like to learn more? Do you have just 5 minutes? So you can always go that next step as well. And that's what you call securing an appointment. But so not only the host are you asking, but if you're noticing on your online parties that someone is just like always liking and always sharing recipes, I've definitely private messaged them and said, Sue, I can tell you love the product. Have you ever thought of doing what I do? So it's just such an easy way to ask and then listen to the response and then follow up. I mean, if they tell you no, thank you. And, I have a folder that has sponsoring leads, and don't be offended if they don't answer the phone. Don't be offended if they don't reply to your message. Sometimes it's just timing. So give them a week or give them a month or give them 2 months. Follow up again, you guys. You know what I mean? It's like, if anything, you're going to create a raving fan because they're going to appreciate your customer service. So I hate to say this, but it is a numbers game. So it's like booking parties, which a lot of you are really good at and getting even better at. It's more than 2 people normally that you need to ask to book a party, and it's going to be the same thing on sponsoring. So, get that muscle and just keep asking. And the more you ask, I promise you, the easier it will get. I promise you more than anything. At first, we kind of stand in our way and we go, oh my gosh. It's just a new muscle you're building. So the more you ask, the better it will get. Okay, let me see here. So tonight at 7 o'clock, there was a call at 7 o'clock that Margaret Thompson does. Has anybody ever listened to that? It's like a sponsoring opportunity. Has anybody ever listened to that? Okay, so if you want more confidence in sponsoring, you can just call in yourself. And it's 7 o'clock Central every Monday night. If you have a potential and you're not exactly sure what to say, you can invite that potential to that. But like I said, you could listen to it yourself just to go, oh yeah, I never thought about that. Or you can bring somebody. Also tonight at 8 o'clock, which was when we had our meeting, they kind of threw this out at the last minute, but there was a panel discussion on sponsoring on the Tastefully Simple, or the independent Tastefully Simple Facebook page. It'll be recorded. So I thought, well, it's okay. It'll be a good follow-up. You know what I mean? So if you want to pedal that bike and sponsoring is something that you want to work on, oh my gosh. And like someone said, what a great way to earn trips. What a great way to make extra money. What a great way to make a difference in another person's life, you guys. I have seen so many people grow, myself included, as a result of direct sales. So it's really a very powerful thing. Okay, so we have 1 minute left. I'd like to honor the 8:30. What is one thing that you're going to do to grow your sponsoring business as a result of this amazing meeting tonight? Does anybody want to share? One thing you're going to do.
Always ask my host.
So Sheila, and did someone else say that? And
I
Angie?
was just about to say, I'm going to ask my hosts this
Oh,
week. Yeah,
so
in fact,
how
I'm
do
going to send an email right now.
There you go. Do you guys have a way to keep track of that? Do you ever go, I forgot if I asked her or him?
For April, I feel like it'll be easier to ask your host because that's part of the host rewards.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
You know.
I forgot to mention that, Rebecca.
So would you like to use your host rewards to do what I do? You can start for free, hopefully, if they have at least a $500 party. And that, to me, that's easier when it's free. Hello.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose, everything to gain. So
I love it. Thank you for reminding us of that. Also, really, they can start for free when they do $250 in their first 2 weeks. I mean, I think sometimes we forget to promote that. And again, Rebecca, thank you for bringing that April incentive up. But you know, I'll show you a way that you can basically start for free because I'll help you with your first party and you'll get a $50 bonus. So boom, there's that $49. But very good. Anybody else want to share? What's one thing you're going to do as a result of our gathering this evening on Zoom? 2 of you are going to ask your hosts. How about the rest of you?
I can say that I've been more consistently like posting about the opportunity because of the incentive this month. And like I've been messaging people. Like I don't have a VIP group, but I have like a while back I did for one of the pre-orders or something, or the holiday deals, something like that. I made a group chat about it. And so I've just kept that group chat. And so then I'll throw it in there sometimes like, hey, anybody want to host like this month? PS, you get like, you can also join for free. Like those are like my loyal customers anyway. So like they've already kind of been, the seed has been planted.
Exactly, Laura. That's exactly right. Planting the seed. All right.
That is something I might try. When you guys mentioned, I'm going to look on my VIP page because I have some who are super active, and I think I'm going to send 5 emails to them, 5 messages to people who are active. So same message.
I heard that, Angie. 5.
5. I could do this.
Yep. So let's wrap up here, you guys. So what can you each do in the next week to bring your sponsoring to life, to do something intentional? Next week, we are going to talk about the incentive trip. That is going to be our Zoom call. And then the week after that, guess what we're going to talk about again? Sponsoring. We're going to dig deeper because we're going to create a sponsoring culture where it's just going to be part of what we're doing on a regular basis. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording and